learn all about Excel. We're going to start from beginning and go into a little more advanced and intermediate stuff. We're going to go into tips and tricks, and we're going to be going on both the Mac and the PC platform. And you're going to learn a lot of stuff from working with invoices, working with templates, formatting, formulas, working with charts, all kinds of different things. Okay, so we're going to just really run the gamut. As Evie pointed out, we do have files for you to work with if you are part of the purchasing the class. So, and you also have shortcuts that you can work with as well as just part of enrolling in the class today. And those shortcuts are keyboard shortcuts. All right, so we're just going to jump right into it. And very excited, so strap on in and let's do some Excel. All right, so you're going to see here I have on my screen all the files that I'll be working from. And all these files are indicated as what day we'll be working with, okay? And this is just going to be for today, and then tomorrow and the subsequent days we're going to have day 2, etc. All right, you're going to see here how each of the one is day 1 and then session 1. All right, so that's how it's going to work. And then each one is actually labeled as such for what kind of exercise we're going to be working with. And hopefully you can see as I move my mouse around, you'll be able to see where I'm at with things. And as I indicated, we will be working with both the PC and the Mac side of things. So I will be toggling back and forth between the two. So if you can see my screen, you'll actually see as I'm going back, this is now actually in the PC version, and this is going to be back on the Mac version. So I will be doing just sort of an even split of both sides just to kind of have a nice representative sample of everybody out there depending on what program you have and what platform you're working on. All right, so that said, the way that I like to start off is kind of imagine us as sort of medical students on our first day. All right, so what we're talking about here is we need to know our anatomy. We need to know kind of, so we don't, cut into a knee when we're doing shoulder surgery, right? So we need to know kind of what's what. So I'm going to be talking about the sort of general layout and the general workspace of Excel, some things you might know, some new things possibly you might get introduced to. And also, a big part of what we can work on in both the 2011 version for the Mac and the 2010 version on the PC is the ability to really customize, all right, to really make it your own, to really own the program so you're not kind of tripping over stuff that you don't need, or you can really streamline to the stuff that you do need. All right, so that's what we're going to be working on initially. And again, I'm going to be going back and forth on both sides. So we're going to start off on the Mac side, and again, I'm going to be toggling back and forth, and we're going to be going to this workbook exploration. You can see that right there, because that's just going to allow us to take a look at a live one, and then actually go ahead and take a look at an Excel workbook live. And I want to just kind of give a broad overview of what we're looking at here. All right, just to kind of, I'm going to cover some Excel terminology, so we're kind of all speaking the same page, and if you ever want to use it in the workplace or working on your own, you'll know what we're referring to when we start talking about some of these things. All right, and you'll see that a lot of the things I'll be working towards and some of the examples I'll be using will be catered to some independent contractors, graphic designers, and things like that. And some of the things will be kind of more broad as well. So there's a nice spectrum of different types of examples that we'll be working from. Okay, so let's just go ahead and start off here. So I want to first just talk about our toolbars here. All right, so you're going to see here, again, we're on the Mac side, okay, and we will be going over to the PC side momentarily. But you'll see here, I like to start off by talking about what's called the ribbon. All right, this is what's known as the ribbon. So we have here home, layout, table, chart. All right, and on the ribbon, we have a couple of different things I want to point out. All right, home, layout, and table, these are what's known as tabs. So I say, okay, we're going to go to the layout tab. And you can see when I clicked on there, that gets red, so you'll kind of know how I'll be working. You can see we're on the layout tab, we're on the tables tab, etc. You can see how when I do that, new things pop up. And then within each tab, you have something called a group. So you can see here in the tables tab, I have the table options group. I have the table styles group. If I go to layout, you'll see I have within the layout tab, I have the page setup group and the view group, etc. So you kind of, it's a nice way to be able to orient yourself in terms of where we're going to be for each of these things. All right? And it's nice also that if you don't know what something is, you can always move your mouse over each icon. You see when I'm moving my mouse over it, a little tooltip pops up. All right, so that's a nice way for you to kind of be able to teach yourself. If you get stuck, you can always orient yourself nicely with just moving your mouse over something. So let's go back to home for a second. And then what is this ABC? I do that. It's like, OK, it's going to tell me that's the orientation of something. Wrap text. And it tells me make all cell content visible, blah, 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 all that stuff here. So just kind of these tools are built in for you to be able to just kind of teach yourself if you get stuck. All right, so that's going to be the first part that I want to orient you to. Now, you're also going to have, and some of you who might be used to the older format going back to 2004, you're going to have another toolbar up here. All right, this is what's known as your standard toolbar. Now, what I'm going to do first, before I talk about what's on the standard toolbar, I want to add on another toolbar. This is going to be our first segment of customization, because you're going to see that it's going to add on some extra features for us that's going to be very helpful to be able to do more formatting and other kinds of options for you. Now, I want to talk about something called right-clicking, because I know a lot of people don't have the right-click. If you're on a Mac that does not do right-click, you can always do the control-click, or if you're on a trackpad, you can do the two-finger click. But I'm going to recommend either you do the right-click on your mouse, or you hold down the control key, and then you get something like this that pops up. All right, this is what's known as a context menu. I will be doing a lot of right-clicking on this. All right, so I would like you to at least get familiar with the control click, or you could potentially go to your system preferences and make it so you can have a secondary click built into your system.
Yes. And a few people are asking in the chat rooms, they just want to make sure, are you only covering the latest and greatest version of Excel, or is this course really for anybody with any version they're using?
At this point, what we're working on right now, the ribbon does not exist for 2008, but these toolbars do. So as far as this customization segment, it has not been invented yet for 2008.
Okay.
But I'd say about 90% of the stuff that we'll be doing is available for the older programs as well. The only difference will be the interface, how you actually get to them. But the features are almost exactly the same. So if people at home have questions about that, I can show how to do that. And on the Mac side of things, there is the benefit of working with this menu up on top. And you'll see that there actually is a lot of redundancy, and that's a good thing. There's redundancy in terms of how you can do it on the menu up on top and how you can do it on the ribbon. Okay, so the answer is mostly yes. It will apply for both 2008 and 2011 for the Mac. And then I'll be talking about the PC side as well and see if people have questions about that.
Fantastic.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to go ahead and right-click up here, and this would be the same for the 2008 version, and possibly even the 2004 version. And you'll see here I have some options for icon and text, or icon only. So if I do icon and text, you're going to see it's going to help me out a little bit more. So if I didn't know what something was, like, oh, what is that crazy Greek symbol? Oh, that's AutoSum. So then I have the reminder of what that is, so you can work with that more directly and with a little bit more information. Okay, so I'm going to right-click again, and what I'd like to do is go over here to Toolbars, and you'll see here I have Standard that has a check mark next to it, and then I have Formatting, and then that comes up. And you're going to see here, now I have an additional toolbar. And I like to have that up there because for some of us, that might be more the traditional way that we're working with. For whatever reason, it is hidden by default, so this is nice that we can go ahead and bring it up. All right, so now I have two different toolbars here, and I also have my ribbon that I can work with. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some customization features, because a lot of times, there's just stuff that we just don't use. There's stuff that we don't use, or there's stuff that we do use, but we want to be able to add some things onto the toolbar so we have quick access to it. So let's just go ahead and see how we can do that. So we're going to start off by customizing the main toolbars. The ribbon we're going to come to in just a little bit. We're going to customize that. But we're going to go ahead and customize these toolbars so we can actually either take some things away or add some things on there. So when I right-click again, you're going to see this bottom option is Customize Toolbars and Menus. So when I do that, you're going to see this is going to take me to this new dialog box here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my commands. So you have two tabs up here, Toolbars and Menus. And I'm going to go to Commands right here. So let's just say, for example, I want to add on, let's just say Page Setup. A little bit hard to find. All right, I don't know where it is, and it keeps getting buried. So you'll notice here I have this thing called Categories. Now, what we're referring to when we say categories, just another way of saying these menu options, because it's pretty much the same thing. So I know that under File, I have a bunch of different things under here, including Page Setup. So if I want page setup to be here all the time, it's as simple as just a drag and drop. So if you want to try this, you can do this with me. So I'll go ahead and close this. I'm going to go ahead and say OK, so we can go ahead and do this together. So those of you at home, if you want to try it, let's do that one more time together. So I'm just going to go ahead and right-click. We'll do Customize Toolbars and Menus. And then we're going to go to this Commands tab. All right, so we're there. And then I'm going to go to my File menu. And understand that any one of these is an open candidate for where we want to go. It could be any tool that's available within Excel. You can then bring it on here. So I'm going to come down and notice some of the options within File. I'm just going to take Page Setup, and I use this a lot, so I want to have it on the far left. I'm just going to simply click and drag. That's it. And notice how that little kind of blue bar comes up. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it right between New and Templates, and there it is. Now I have Page Setup. So again, this is about customizing it for your benefit. So basically, you can create this from the ground up, whatever you want. So we'll take a little bit of familiarity with where things are, and then once you know where things are, you can go ahead and bring it onto these toolbars. And any one of these will be fine. All right? And then you'll also, you can do keyboard shortcuts. We're not going to get into too much, but I want you to at least know that the options are available to you if you like to do keyboard shortcuts. Again, you do, as somebody who's enrolled today, you do have the ability to get the keyboard shortcuts available to you as handouts for both the PC and the Mac. Okay? So that's just a nice way to do that. So hopefully that's pretty clear. Are there any questions coming from the home audience on this?
I think everyone's pretty clear.
Okay,
yeah, absolutely.
Great.
Thank you, Dave.
Okay, very good. So I'm just going to get out of that, and you'll see there's my page setup. Lo and behold, as I'd set it up, fantastic. So then again, and by the way, let me just show you really quickly. I'm just going to back up a second. I could also take these away also. Do you see that? I can actually drag them away. I'm going to keep it as is, but I could easily, just if I want to use certain things, it's taking up too much room, I can also get rid of some of these things. Okay? So let me just go ahead and do that. Okay, and now, the other customization I want to show you is the ability to customize the ribbon. Now, you can customize the ribbon to a certain degree. It's not as sort of sophisticated as one would like, but basically it's sort of a yes or no thing. Do you want this thing or not? Do you want this tab or not? And you're going to see on the far, far right, you're going to see you have this little gear. All right, we know about gears. Sometimes on our computers we see that. That usually means what? Like settings of some kind or tools or something like that. And you're going to see when I move my mouse over it, it tells me. Remember our tooltips. So we go here and we're going to see set ribbon preference or tab order. Remember these are called tabs. So if I click on that, you're going to see I have ribbon preferences and customize ribbon tab order. All right, so I'm going to go to customize ribbon tab order first. Now, when I do that, not a whole lot changes on the screen. All right, except when you're looking closer, you'll notice that the tabs now have a little X next to them, and they also have these three little bars here. X, as we know, is what? Close, right? Or get rid of something, right? Something like that. So we can easily get rid of these if we want to. So if I'm not really using charts or formulas or SmartArt or something like that very often, I can easily just click on the X, and then it's gone. As easy as that. It's gone. If I want to reorder these things, that's what this little three-bar thing is. So if I decide, you know what, I'm using tables quite a bit, I just want to drag this over. Home is always going to be home, by the way, but I can move these in whatever order I want to. So it gives you some power to be able to do that to a certain degree. So that's pretty nice. All right, and then when I'm done, I just click on Done. You see here it is on the far right, and I can do that. Okay, so now I have that other tab is gone now. Now let me come back to ribbon preferences now. And I see this, and you're going to see this essentially takes me to something sort of similar where I have all my options here for all the tabs, but basically there's check marks. And we know what check marks are basically like yes or no as well. So I can easily bring back my SmartArt, or I can take some of these things away if I want to pretty easily. And while we're here, you'll notice that I can also customize the appearance. And we're going to be coming into some of the settings in just a little bit after I do the PC side. So you're going to see here is Excel Green or Graphite. Either one, if you like to play around with some of the different color options, you can do that. If you get bored with one, you can very easily just kind of change back however you want to. All right, you can also turn off the ribbon. You can expand the ribbon when the workbook opens, because right now it's expanded, or you can have it collapsed. And that's actually really good if you have a smaller screen. You can make it so it's like, you know what, I only want to do the ribbon when I want it. I don't necessarily want it to be expanded out because the screen real estate that I have isn't so much. So I'm really more focused on the main part of my spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and keep it as is. I'm going to bring back SmartArt, and I'm going to click OK. All right, so that's a really nice way for you to be able to customize things. Okay, so again, we right-click, we can do our customization, we can add our toolbars in there, and we can also customize the ribbon to a certain degree. Now this thing right here, if you move your mouse over it, let's see if it tells us anything. Okay, it doesn't tell you too much there, but this is the way to, one of the ways that we can actually minimize the ribbon as I discussed earlier. And you can see here it's still there, and I can access it, but remember it takes up less screen real estate now for me to be able to see more of my spreadsheet as opposed to my toolbars. And you can go ahead and click on it again to bring them back. Okay? So that's the customization part on the Mac side. Now I'm just going to go ahead and toggle over, for those of us who are on PCs at home, I'm just going to go ahead and toggle over to the PC version now. Now this is going to be a little bit different. You'll notice how there's no toolbar up on top. You see there's no file edit and all that stuff. They've actually gotten rid of that on the PC side, and they have exclusively on the ribbon. Now, they've added on a few other things that are brand new to the 2010 and 2007 version, and also if you're in 2013, this is the same exact thing. And you'll notice here I have these little icons up here. And I'm not getting my mouse on this part, on the Windows side. So we'll go ahead and fix that, where I'm not actually seeing the mouse pose here. If you can see my mouse over here in the upper left, we have this thing called the Quick Access Toolbar. So this is something that you can customize also from the ground up. But what I'd like to first do before we do anything is I'd like to actually bring it into an area that's a little bit more easy to access. Right? It's known as the Quick Access Toolbar. So let's make it a little bit quicker to access. So the way I'm going to do that is to right-click. And you're going to see when I right-click, I get a whole bunch of options here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the third one, which says Show Quick Access Toolbar below the ribbon. And you're going to see now it is below the ribbon. Now, I want to just kind of take a moment to tell you that everything that I've done so far on both the Mac side and also everything I'm about to do on the PC side is something you can actually transfer over to if you're working with Word, if you're working with PowerPoint, and you're working with other Office programs, that all this customization and working with the toolbars, you can actually do the same exact thing. So just kind of understand how there's a lot of transferability between some of the things that we're learning. All right, you're going to see here this Quick Access Toolbar has just these three icons. And you'll notice that I have this drop-down. Move my mouse over, it tells me Customize Quick Access Toolbar. So I'm going to click on that. And you're going to see they give me a few things right off the bat in terms of what things I can add to it. New, open, email, quick print. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly add those. It's right there. And then I say open. So it just gives me quick access to all these things. All right? So really simple, really straightforward. It's all right there. And now I have these for every document that I'll be working on, just quick, easy access, because I don't have them here. So this is kind of bridging the gap in terms of the way the Mac is, where they have some of those things on those toolbars, and now we can actually see them because you don't see them anywhere on the ribbon. All right, so this is my quick access toolbar for me to work with. Now, let's come back over here to the ribbon, and I'm going to introduce you to the ribbon and also show you how we can dovetail the ribbon between the quick access toolbar and all the tools on the ribbon. Now, it's very similar in terms of our ribbon on the PC side or on the Mac side, where we have tabs, our Home tab, our Insert tab, our Page Layout tab, everything. And we also have groups. So within our Page Layout group, we have the Page Setup group. Okay, so we're in the Page Layout tab, Page Setup group. We have the Scale to Fit group. If I go to, let's say, Data, I'm going to have my Connections group. I have my Sort and Filter group. So it's very similar in terms of what we just saw on the Mac side. All right, so those are the two components on the PC side where we have the tabs and we also have the groups.